This is what a lot of people have been waiting on, the new preamp. Here is the prototype. We started off with before I went ahead and transferred it to a usable one with a relay, invert circuit and all. There she is. It's a perfect time to show it. We got some real low signal stuff happening on the bowl. Take a look at the increase when I put power to this cotton picker. Preamp is off. Alright, watch this. Let's let somebody start talking. Perfect time to get low signal conversations happening on the bowl. It's on. Off. It's a nice increase. On. Off. Let him start talking again. On. Oh. On. Off. Well, I had a bad connection on the power level. On. Off. On. Off. I'll show it to you one more time and I'll show you the circuit. On. Off. That's nothing right there. That's the needle resting on 0. Oh, off. Resting on 0 right there. We'll go one more time here. I've been waiting for some good low signal conversation like that. If they're on like 4 or 5 pounds naturally, put them all the way in the red, way faster red. Off. It's taking signals below the noise floor pretty much and then amplifying them. On. Off. On. Off. Now when it comes to static and a CB radio, no matter what kind of preamp it is, it's going to amplify what's there. That's just a preamp, regular. But the neat thing about this particular device being used is it's not going to bring in any unwanted noises from the next harmonic over. First order, second order, third order. This right here is only going to be amplifying a very small band of RF of frequency, very small band of frequency. Okay, as with the regular preamp that pretty much everybody's seen up till now, it's trying to pull in everything it can pull in, man. I mean, it's that's why there's more noise generated by the object. Okay, I'm going to offer two different versions of this. One version is going to have an output filter on it, a very narrow output filter, which would be good for use with pretty much from the 12 meter band, the 11 meter band, and the 10 meter band. And the reason why there's a filter added to that is to make sure there's no unwanted noise coming from right there around up under the 15 meters. Not 15 meters, around 15 megahertz, a little bit under 15 megahertz, a little bit under the 12 meter band. Because sometimes there's some noise that can creep in from that direction. So the output filter's got a real steep skirt. And there's a loud one right there, regular. So it'd take that joker right there and take them on over to the, let's see here. See that? Well, you unkeyed now. So you'll see it jump up and everything. So that's because I just got an alligator clip right here, and I'm just touching like that. And sometimes I ain't getting a good connection on it. Like that. Here, he's dead keyed right now. Look at it.
Oh, test 1, 2, 3.
So this preamp's doing its job, and it's doing it nice. Doing it real nice. Alright, let's get all these things unhooked here and show it to you. As I said, this was the original prototype board that the genius, Mr. RF Man, constructed. He constructed this over his laboratory, I guess you can say. And we tested it out over there. We tested it out on a spectrum analyzer as well, and we saw that everything was purely acceptable. I should have done a video, but at that particular time my phone was dead. But I am going to do some videos over there so we can show all that. And now I have turned it in to a usable, it might not be the prettiest thing in the world, but it is a usable device now that I can. This is the one that would be used in the amplifiers or as a solo unit. Okay. This particular device, I mean, you can't even tell where it's at. It's so small. I mean, this thing is micro. It requires biasing. I mean, this device is actually designed to be amplifying RF. It's actually designed to do what it's doing. Unlike a lot of the other devices that we do use. Now, with my regular preamp that y'all have seen me using up to this point, which I still will use at times, it just all matters about what somebody wants. The device that I'm using for it isn't exactly used. Just kind of like IRF 520s that you'll find. IRF 520s, you'll see people using them, you know, factory and different radios from the factory and stuff like that. And IRF 520 is actually not designed to amplify RF, but it still can be used to amplify RF. Well, that's the same thing with these devices. Not these devices right here, but the devices that you see in the regular preamps like Texas Stars preamps, which most of us run off of. And, you know, a couple of different ones, 4125s, 2907s. I've even seen people use 222s. All those devices are not actual RF amplifiers. The closest one I've seen was an audio amplifier. And I have seen a preamp made with a small RF amplifier, three-legged device sold on eBay. But I didn't see any difference of the actual amplification. It was actually very weak. But this device right here is actually designed to amplify RF. You're probably wondering where it's at. It ain't this big device right here. That's actually a regulator. Let's see if I can sit this down. And I will point the device out to you. It'll be no secret. You're going to see it once these start flowing out there. I will be making a professional printed board for these, but as for now, I'm probably going to be doing them like this right here. Okay. Right there's the device. You can barely see it, and it's pretty tough to work with. Pretty tough to work with. A couple shout outs I do want to give. I want to give a shout out to Mr. RF Man, of course, for all your help. Wouldn't have been able to get this bad boy done without you, man. I actually had a representative from the company that produces these come down to meet with Mr. RF Man. He's got that kind of pull. And I actually bring some devices with him and gave him some pointers on which way to go with this particular preamp for this particular frequency range. So these bad boys can be used to make a preamp for pretty much any usable band that anybody uses. So they can be, the device itself is wide banded, very wide banded, but it's being used right now for narrow band operation. And like I said, for the versions that people may be using for different bands, other than this particular usage right here, which is for the CB band. There's nothing wrong with a preamp for the CB band. A lot of people want to get them signals pulled in a little better. But this can be used for 10 meters as well. But if somebody wanted something for like 12, 10, 11, I'm going to be putting an output filter on that. A narrow skirt output filter. Or any of the other bands. Those will have output filters as well, and they might not be as high dB gain, but they're still going to be right there around the 20 or so plus dB gain. This bad boy right here, as you can see, is around 30 dB gain. It's right there around 3S units. That's what I'm seeing on this end, which is great. All right, that's it. And I want to give one more shout out to Fat Boy Electronics. You ask why? Why would I be giving a shout out to Fat Boy Electronics? Because back when I was trying to, I guess you could say, get my invert circuit to work the way I truly wanted it to. The first invert circuit I was playing around with about 4 or 5 years ago it worked just fine. But the problem is with particular radios, for some weird reason, see, what an invert circuit is it's designed to bypass the whole preamp circuit, because you can't send RF through this preamp to the back end. You can only send the RF through the end that it's designed to be going through. If you send it through the back end, you're going to blow the circuit. 9 times out of 10, you're going to blow it, because it's not supposed to be going that direction. So you have to bypass this circuit if you want this preamp to work when an amplifier is off, or if you want this preamp to work by itself, solo, as an external preamp. So when you key that microphone, you need to bypass this preamp circuit. Well, what's done with that is called an invert circuit. It actually inverts the power to turn this relay off or to ground. You can see any way you want to look at it. I got the conventional flow of electrons and the flow everybody should be looking at it. So anyway, as time went on, I did see one that was made in a, So I'm just gonna be completely true with y'all. I ain't gonna keep this stuff ain't like I designed. If it's something that I come up with completely myself, I'm gonna tell you. If it's something that I gained a little piece of somewhere else, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. You ain't got it like a wise man once said. You ain't got a lie to kick it. You know what I'm saying? But I had a Fat Boy 1446 bass that had a real unique preamp in it. I mean, this thing was like, good God, it had so many components in it. And I was like, what in the heck is this, you know? We're talking like 20, 25 components in this thing. I'm like, what is all this for? Well, anyway, I quickly noticed, I mean, this is real weird. Okay, now keep in mind, with this amplifier, you could only turn it on and off. There was no separate switch to turn the power supply on and the amplifier on. The amplifier's relay on. So it was just an on-off amp. But for some reason, the preamp had an invert circuit built into it, but it wasn't being used, as I just mentioned, because the amp, for that to be used, you would have to turn the power supply on with the amp still off, so you can turn the preamp on, and then when you key, it turns the relay off and sends the RF through this jumper right here on the relay, just like if there was no power on this, which there ain't no power on it at that time. Or at least there's no power being energized in the coil of this relay, so it just flows through that jumper. RF comes in on this pin, flows to this jumper, goes to this pin, and off. And then when the preamp's on, it comes in on this pin, flows through this DC blocking capacitor. That's all these are, these two caps. They're DC blocking caps. Make sure no DC comes up the back end from the bias. Flows to that DC blocking cap onto the preamp. And this right here is the output of the preamp. This blue cap right here is the output of the preamp. It goes onto your radio. So I just noticed that, you know, and what I actually did was I actually just, you know, once I seen it, I was astonished. I'm like, that looks like an invert circuit. So I just took some scissors, man, or whatever I had, and I just cut the wire going to the main relay. And I wanted to see if this thing worked, you know, and it worked flawlessly. And I was like, that is neat. So I could look in there and I could tell, you know, I could tell right offhand that what I was doing wrong. I could tell what I was doing wrong. I actually needed to add a different value resistor, and I needed to add 2 more diodes to the circuit that I was using. I was already using a reverse diode to ground. We won't get all deep into that. But anyway, so that's why I want to give a shout out to Fat Boy Electronics, no doubt about it, for giving me a small key that I needed to get the inverts working. So, you know, I can't take full credit for that. Okay. But I will take a little bit of credit, just a little tiny bit of credit for the preamp circuit. It was an idea that I had in my mind. I went to another fella. He actually designed one. Y'all already seen the video to that particular one. And he kind of just disappeared. I couldn't get in touch with him no more. But I know he was going through some personal issues he was having to take care of, which is completely understandable. But I just couldn't get in touch with him no more. So I thought this preamp thing was going to be out the door, or I was going to have to sit down and reconstruct it and figure it out myself. Which I've never worked with devices this small before. These are devices you can't hold in your fingers and solder. You've got to use, you know, you got to put on a little magnifying glass and solder these things. They're so small. So anyway, I met old RF man. Brought the idea to him. He said, "Oh man, bring me a schematic or bring me some information. You know, we'll get this thing done." So, you know, I brought him what I had, which wasn't hardly nothing. All I had was really a device. I knew what device was being used. Excuse me. Celebration SIG. You know what it is. So I knew what device was being used. So I brought that to Mr. RF man. There's what the older style ones look like right there. We still got an invert circuit. That's what the older style ones right there. I mean, these preamps work nice. They really do. It's just, they can pull in a little bit of unwanted noise. They can. These are best to be used when the band is a little quieter. these bad boys is just the best route to go because these are actually designed for RF. These are not designed for RF. They're a multi-purpose transistor. They're not actually designed particularly for RF. These are. That little tiny thing you can't see on the camera. Look at it, you can see it a little bit more clear right there. Boy, that thing's tiny. How small that thing is, man. All I'm going to say is it is an integrated circuit. That bad boy is, it's amazing how much they can put into a small circuit these days. So anyway, I don't know what I was just saying, but I just want to make a quick video, unrehearsed, and just show the new preamp in a working circuit here. And I think I'll just keep this one right here for myself. And I have quite a few of them that I need to make, because there's a few of y'all that's already pre-ordered, and I've got a few that's pre-ordered for, oh, you know, that reminds me. This is going to be more what you're going to get, but it's going to be on a smaller board, a lot smaller board. This is going to be pretty much what you're going to get right here. If you order one just for a radio that you don't need an actual relay with or anything like that. So that's going to be more, that's going to be the bare bones circuit right there. Of course, it's going to be a lot smaller board. And then this right here is going to be pretty much going to be used for both versions. Okay. The reason why I have a regulator on this board is just in case, like for example, right now, I was actually testing that preamp on an unregulated supply, because I want these to where they'll be able to work just fine on unregulated or a regulated supply, so it fixes both issues, because this is a sensitive device since there's biasing included, so it does have regulated biasing on this. Alright, that's it. I just want to make a quick video showing that it's now made, so everybody that's already pre-ordered, be patient, and anybody that wants to put any orders for this preamp, just give me a shout over at info@gatekeeperamps.com. Thanks a lot. Bye.